Vice-Chancellor, Professor Stephen Parker, AO, Deans, university staff and representatives, parents, friends, but most of all, the rest of you, all our commencing students, welcome to the 2016 University of Canberra Commencement Ceremony. My name's Professor Nick Klomp. I'm the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Education here at the University of Canberra, and I'm your Master of Ceremonies here today for today's proceedings. The commencement ceremony is not only a chance for the university to officially mark the official commencement of the academic year, but it's also an opportunity for us to welcome all the new students, all our commencing students, really welcome you to the University of Canberra and importantly to the community that the University of Canberra represents. We think of it as a community, and we're certainly here to support you in your studies and what is effectively, for most of you, the start of your career. As we do in all official occasions at the University of Canberra, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we're gathered here today, the Ngunnawal people, and I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Indigenous people here today. And on that note, it is my great pleasure to invite Auntie Rosalind Brown to the podium to begin the official proceedings of today with a welcome to country. Ros?
Wow, you all look so wonderful, so many people. Hi everyone. As you're about to begin your studies here at the University of Canberra, I'm very pleased to welcome you today to the 2016 Commencement Ceremony. I would like to acknowledge Vice-Chancellor Stephen Parker, Nick Klomp, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Education, Michelle Fleming, Dean of Students, Professor Peter Riddell, the Dean of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Leadership and Strategy, Ngunnawal Centre staff and students, distinguished guests, all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander and non-Indigenous friends here today. A special welcome to the students who are new to the university. Education at university level is such a wonderful opportunity and an important time in a person's life. It's a time to be truly treasured, and what you learn at UC will help prepare you for future challenges in your working and personal life. I'd just like to say, personally, I started studying here 20 years ago, and the studies that I did do helped me to get a drug and rehabilitation healing farm for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people addicted to substance abuse. So what I'm saying, I'm telling the truth. Education at university will really help you. On behalf of the United Ngunnawal Elders Council, we wish you every success. Welcome to Ngunnawal country. May the spirits of our ancestors embrace you and keep you safe on Ngunnawal land. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Auntie Ros. And thank you for all the stuff that you do for the University of Canberra. You're on different committees, you support the university in lots of different ways, and it's always delightful to see you here. Thanks again for your welcome to country. And I know that you've come here with an injury. I saw you hobbling down the stairs, so an extra thanks for putting in the extra effort to welcome all the commencing students. Thanks, Ros. Thanks. Can you get a step back? It's now my pleasure to invite Professor Stephen Parker, AO, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Canberra, to officially welcome you all and to launch the new academic year.
Thank you, Nick. Welcome everyone to the University of Canberra. Whether you've come here straight from school or college, whether you've taken a gap year, whether you've come here after a period in the workforce, or even if you've studied at the university before. And sometimes there are family and friends in the audience, and I welcome you also. Support from family and friends for our new students as they transition into university can be very important. Welcome to you if you've come here from overseas. Moving to a new country can be a great challenge, particularly if you don't know anyone, and particularly if you have a different first language. We hope that you enjoy your time at the university, and we mean to do everything that we can to support you. I'd like to talk for a few minutes about the university and then give you some advice about how to be successful here at the university and in university studies generally. UC is a young university in many ways, We started as a College of Advanced Education in 1968, but only became a university in 1990. Already we have over 75,000 graduates. We have a strategic plan which sets out our mission, what we think we're here to do, and we say that we've got three purposes: to provide education which offers high quality, transformative experiences to everyone suitably qualified, whatever their stage of life and irrespective of their origins; to engage in research and creative practice which are of high quality and aim to make an early and important difference to the world around us; and to contribute through our education and research to the building of just, prosperous and sustainable communities which are respectful of their indigenous past and committed to redressing disadvantage. So if you crunch all of that together, we think we're here to make the world a better place, and we want to do it sooner rather than later. We have always had a strong reputation for teaching professional courses which help people find rewarding jobs. And this is reflected year after year in the Good Universities Guide, where we continue to be rated highly for graduate employment rates and graduate starting salaries. In 2013, we entered world rankings as a university for the first time. That series is the QS World University Rankings, and under their methodology, we were placed in the top 5% of universities in the world. Last year, however, we entered another series, and won by the prestigious Times Higher Education magazine in London, and under their method, we're placed in the top 4% of universities worldwide, and of course we much prefer their method. And then, even more recently, QS ranked us in the top 100 universities in the world under the age of 50. So whichever way you look at it, we've arrived on the scene as a young university, and we're going up in the world. And even if you don't think about it now, one day this will all matter to you. One day you'll be a graduate from UC and you will want your degree certificate, or testama as we call it. You'll want it from a university with a rising reputation and with graduates all around the world. And that is what is the case now with the University of Canberra. So whilst we are lucky to have you, you are also lucky to be here, especially as we live in a world of conflict and rising inequality. Over the last few years, we've been growing our student intake with around 16,000 students now enrolled. Admissions of international students have been particularly strong, and at any one time they represent 20 to 25% of our total student numbers, and they come from perhaps 100 different countries. And we hope that you will all enjoy and celebrate this international atmosphere wherever you're from. Our growth means that we've been able to invest in new facilities and to improve the experience of being here on campus. 2 years ago, we opened new student residences called Cooper Lodge, with more than 400 beds and a range of retail outlets, which I hope you've already had a chance to look at. And as you may have seen, we're building more student residences nearby, and they also will have 400 beds in their own rooms, of course. It's not just one big dormitory. Well, it's an idea, isn't it? The university is also rapidly growing its health precinct, and you'll see a number of new facilities here on campus. We already have a health hub, but building work has now started on the University of Canberra Public Hospital, which will be completed in 2018 and will be a great place where our health and other students can have practical clinical placements. Also, Moran Health have announced that they will be opening a 150-bed aged care facility on campus, together with a 120-place childcare centre to meet the needs of staff and students. And these facilities will provide work-integrated learning opportunities for a range of our degree programs for many of our students, and we think that's a terrific addition also to our campus. And then even more recently, Icon Group announced that they will be building a new radiological oncology centre here on campus. And this will provide exciting opportunities for our students, particularly in the new degree, the Bachelor of Medical Radiation Science, which will also help our physics teaching generally. So there's a whole range of activities happening or about to happen on campus, which will benefit students in different courses, as well as grow the university community. We're a university which is committed to sport, committed to studying it, to researching it, and to playing it. And we partner with sporting organisations. In particular, as you may know, we support Canberra's Super 15 rugby union team, the Brumbies. We have an alliance agreement with the Brumbies, and this is the first time in the history of Australian sport that an agreement of this kind has been made between a university and a team in a top international competition. So we hope you'll become members of the club and that you'll go to their games. If you come from a country which plays no rugby, go along to a game and see what you think about it. I think you'll find its rules easier to understand than the rules of cricket, if that's any help. So maybe in the future, in China or Malaysia, or wherever you come from, there will be a Brumbies following, which would be great. You can see the Brumbies training on campus on most weekdays at their new headquarters as part of our sporting commons. And this building opened 2 years ago, and it's the home to UC Fit, the Brumbies coaching, the athletic development and administration staff, and we also have research facilities there, so it's a great addition for staff and students to go to the gym, but also see sport in action. We also have our own team in the WNBL, the University of Canberra Capitals, women's basketball competition. The season's coming to a close now, but there are 2 games left, and you might want to go along and support them, and also support them in the next season. This is a campus which also has plenty of contemporary music, with live concerts and performances in different venues around the campus. This year, for the 7th year running, Groove in the Moo will be held here on campus. It's on the 24th of April. It's a major event, and last year was a sellout with 15,000 people attending. This year's lineup has some major international and local acts, including Alice in Wonderland, which sort of rings a bell somewhere with me, and the local outfit Safia, Boo Seeker, Illy, and recent Triple J Hottest 100 winners, the Rubens. And I think I'm going to be giving 2 tickets to lottery winners later in the proceedings today. So go along to that. And if you are from a somewhat older demographic, you might like to know, as you walk around the refectory, that years ago AC/DC played in the refectory as the support act to Split Ends. Can you believe it? All of this adds up to a university with good facilities and opportunities for all of our students, but also a university with life and character, and that's what we want to be. But obviously, you are here to study and to build a career. So let me make some comments, please, about being a student. Being a student for many people is a great phase in their lives, but it's not always straightforward. Many of you have to juggle part-time work and study, and some of you have family responsibilities too. Financial hardship is a real and unfortunate aspect of higher education in Australia. Your studies can be stressful, and some of you may be adjusting to being away from home for the first time. We recognise this, and we'll do all we can to support you. The staff were students too, once upon a time, believe it or not, and many of us have children who are or have recently been university students, and so we do have insights into modern university life. I have 2 daughters who finished university and one who is still there. I think she's in the 7th year of it. So first of all, I urge you to study at a steady pace. Don't leave it to exam time and then cram it all in. This might have worked in the past, and I confess it might have worked for me, but it doesn't work nowadays. There's too much continuous assessment to risk it, and in examinations we are testing for things which can't be crammed in right at the last minute. So work steadily if you can. Secondly, enjoy all aspects of university life. intellectual, artistic, sporting and social. They're very special places, universities, and we want to help you develop all aspects of your personality. Many of our co-curricular activities come under the University of Canberra Union, and we encourage you to get involved in the activities that interest you. You should also download the University of Canberra app, available on Apple and Android, and you'll find there sections on the library, campus maps, the timetable, Moodle, emergency contacts, news and events, parking, making payments, the staff directory, email and computer lab availability. It's easy to do. It took me only a couple of minutes to do that. Thirdly, remember that universities are ethical places. In your studies, you need to observe the principles of academic life. You need to cite your sources. Don't copy the work of others without attribution, and so on. In your personal conduct, remember, we believe in diversity. There is no place at UC for prejudice based on race, gender, sexuality, class, or any other irrational criterion, nor will violence or harassment be tolerated under any circumstances. And lastly, if you have a problem, do seek help. If you let it pile up, it may only get worse. We have good health and counselling services here on campus. We have good academic support. We have good campus safety programs, and all the staff really want to help you. So I hope you have a great time at UC. I hope that you'll promote it to others whilst you're here and after you leave. From my point of view, you're not only O-Week students, but you are future alumni, and we want you to be good ambassadors for the university and all that we stand for. So thank you, and good luck for you in your time at the University of Canberra.
Thank you very much, Professor Parker. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker for today's ceremony is Nipuni Wijewickrema. When she gets up here in a moment, you'll have this strange feeling that you might have recognised her from somewhere before. And that's because she features on a couple of our banners around the university at the moment. And you'll see why, what it takes to get onto one of our banners in a moment. Nip has graduated from the University of Canberra with her Bachelor of Journalism in 2014. That was 2 years ago. Last year, 2015, she was named a Respect Champion for the YWCA Canberra's Respect Now campaign, which is dedicated to preventing violence against women in the community and implementing primary prevention measures. Nip is also a proud part owner of GG Flowers, a locally socially sustainable florist that is committed to creating meaningful employment opportunities for those people with disabilities. And then just recently, this year, 2016, remember, that's a couple of years since she graduated, Nip was named the 2016 ACT Young Australian of the Year. An amazing ride from just graduating a couple of years ago, Nip. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome Nip Wijewickrema to the front.
Wow, there's so many more people than I was expecting. Ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests, thank you so much for this honour and privilege to talk to you today. As Nick said, it's only been a few years since I graduated from UC. I truly believe that UC is one of the finest universities, and it's with great pride that I stand here today to talk to you about my journey, but also what I've done post-university. Today, my address is aimed at all those students commencing university, but more so, those students out there that have felt inadequate and underwhelmed. Those students that know deep down within that they can do something, but are scared at that possibility. Most importantly, it's aimed at those students that aren't the most gifted and don't score the best grades. Because I was, and still am, one of you. I have never scored perfect HDs, and my ATAR was a bit of a problem. And the only thing that drove me was my own ambition in life. If I was to let my life be ruled by grades and judging my self-worth on grades, I can assure you I wouldn't be standing here talking to you today. My name is Nipuni Wijewickrema, and I am the ACT Young Australian of the Year. 2 years ago, my family and I decided that a very special little girl in our family deserved to live a rich and fulfilling and meaningful life. That little girl, Gayana, is my absolutely precious 16-year-old sister who has Down syndrome. As a family, we established Gigi's Flowers, a socially sustainable florist that employs people with special needs. All those people out there that have someone with a disability will understand the absolute crippling anxiety that you will feel when you ponder the future of your loved ones. And you realise that they naturally don't have the same opportunities as you and I. I always say, if I have to go to work, if I have to pay my taxes, if I have to get up every morning and go to work with a purpose, why on earth does Gayana and her friends not have that same opportunity? I graduated from the University of Canberra in 2013 with a Bachelor of Journalism. I worked for the Canberra Times briefly after my journalism degree and switched to the dark side and worked for communications for ANU, something I thought I would never do. I know, I'm really sorry, Professor Parker. Happy to say 6 months ago I left that job in pursuit of creating meaningful employment opportunities for people with special needs. That's a bit more UC-like, isn't it? I haven't looked back since, and it's been an incredible ride. When I started university, I also decided that if I was going to pursue my beloved journalism degree, I wanted to do something in relation to psychology and helping people. This was before the florist. So I embarked on my Lifeline Australia suicide counselling course. 5 years later, I volunteer every Sunday night to help those at risk of suicide. This to me is the biggest privilege and honour, and I'm so fortunate to be in a place that I can help thousands of Australians in need. And so if there's anyone out there that thinks that they would potentially consider volunteering, I say that university is a great time to start. We might not all have a lot of money, we might not all have a lot of resources, but what you and I and every other person in this planet has is time. Today, I hardly had time to eat breakfast, but I believe that finding a few hours in your week to volunteer, whatever it is really valuable. And that money that you can spend on doing other things and actually serving the community is going to be an investment for our community and our nation for years to come. There are over 4 million people with disabilities in Australia and millions more with special needs. Of those millions of people, we see children with special needs being nurtured in special schools all around the nation. However, after school they hit a roadblock. Some are lucky enough to have an employment with a few organisations that believe in employing people with special needs. After that, many are stuck at home just existing. They become fully dependent on their families, and that struggle already, and the vicious cycle continues, showing no mercy. This is not okay. This is not acceptable. People with special needs deserve to be in meaningful employment, and it is my absolute commitment to you that we can ensure we make this happen. If each large corporate organisation, government agency, workplace, business and community group employed one person with special needs in Australia, we would have an incredibly inclusive Australia. Sure, it won't be easy. Sure, it won't give us millions of dollars, but it will, however, ensure that every member of our community has contact with a person with special needs, and we're all working together as a community to lower that unemployment rate. Today for me is filled with mixed emotion. Firstly, I feel weirdly old because it was exactly 5 years ago that I sat exactly where you were. I was embarking on my business degree and I was wondering if it was the right choice for me. I sat here confused at the freedom, as I'd come from a very strict private school, and I sat here confused because I wasn't quite sure what protocol was to wear. What do I wear to university? And most importantly, I was convinced I would never get out of here, let alone alive. And as you sit here in my shoes 5 years later, I look at you with a tiny bit of jealousy and also incredible amounts of pride. You are the future alumni of this beyond amazing university, and for that we can be proud. I'm also unbelievably stressed because it's Valentine's Day in a few days, and with a florist, men are terrible at ordering in advance. So men, listen up please, and also ladies. My 3 years at the University of Canberra without a doubt would be the best time of my life. I didn't really enjoy my time at school, and the opportunity to go to university with the hope of a fresh start was something that made my heart skip a beat. And a fresh start it was. It turns out I didn't want to study a business degree. Instead, I enrolled in a Bachelor of Journalism on a whim. And I said to myself, you love talking, how hard can this be? I truly believe the University of Canberra Bachelor of Journalism course is a world-class course. It's a program that challenges, inspires, provokes thought, and is mentored by some of the finest academics and journalists in the region. While I was lucky that the degree I chose to study catered to my passions and skill sets, I understand that every course is not like this. But every student enrolled in this university, I think it's every 13,000 of you, has the opportunity to have the most enriching, fulfilling and challenging university experience, the same one that I did. I believe there are three main ways to do it. Number one, pick a degree you love. Something you're passionate about, something you care about, and something the world needs. I promise it will make getting up every morning a little bit easier. Don't do it because your parents told you to do it. I was so lucky to have incredible parents that were so supportive and never pushed me to do something I didn't want to do. So when I said, oh guys, I'm doing a journalism degree, they didn't bat an eyelid. Number two, engage. Engage with your lecturers. They become friends. I have one very special tutor who I worked with in a workplace after university. It was weird. I was the one that said, yes, hire her, she's amazing, to my boss. And you know, I now count her as such a dear friend, and I email her and Facebook her all the time asking her for advice and asking her where I should put like commas and stuff like that, because she always proofs my work for me. Engage with your peers. Chances are they're exactly like you. Take the opportunity to meet them, to socialise and to bond. These friends may be friends for life, and you don't want to spend your university days just coming into uni and leaving. Engage with the university. In my first year, I discovered the UC Press Club. This fantastic club was for all those journalism and communication enthusiasts to network, engage, and be social. And that's exactly what we did. There were few too many wines, valuable networks, and unbelievable opportunities and lifelong friendships made because of the UC Press Club. In my last year at UC, I was fortunate enough to be the Vice President, where I was able to lead hopeful and aspiring journalists to Sydney and Melbourne for industry trips. We got to attend National Press Club addresses, and most importantly, we made networks that I still hold on for years later. I won't lie when I say that university is a hard place to make friends. Everyone has their own lives, busy social calendars and demanding work and family lives. But I truly believe if you put yourself out there enough and show that you're genuine, you won't have to hassle. You won't have a hassle in the world. It will come easily to you. But you just have to invest that time and that effort right now. It starts today. And lastly, in exchange. In my second year of university, I decided I needed a change of pace. So I spoke to the amazing ladies at the UC Study Abroad Centre and walked out deciding I wanted to study in Canada. And off I went to Canada. It was the most incredible time. I made incredible friendships and fantastic learning opportunities. Going overseas and studying abroad opened my horizons from my Canberra bubble, and it really helped me grow as a person. I managed to get mugged in New York and lose my bag in Montreal. I got published by a Canadian news channel, and I made some of the best friends to ever exist. You are so blessed to be studying at this university that is so supportive of their students going out into all nations of the world and doing an exchange program. What I say to you is that you must seize this opportunity. Never in your life will you be able to have such an opportunity presented to you on a silver platter. Take the plunge and just do it. I worked 3 jobs at uni to save enough money to go, and it was worth every late night and eye bag under my eyes. So each and every one of you, I challenge you to think bigger and do something wild with your university years. My experience as ACT Young Australian has been a remarkable experience. I'm going to share with you a snapshot into some of the incredible young Australians that we have in our country.
Each year, 8 amazing young Australians from all over the country are nominated for the Young Australian of the Year award.
I think every business in Australia has an opportunity to employ one person with special needs. And it's just going to take a little bit of love and a bit of compassion.
Domestic violence is just like a disease or an illness. Would you wait for an illness to take over, or would you try to prevent it?
I'm hoping my work can create Darwin as a spot for bands to go when they tour Australia. I think it's important for everyone to have music in their life, but it definitely gives kids of Darwin something to be proud of.
Over the next 12 months, my goal for Australia in regards to homelessness is that we will talk about the issues and that we will explore new strategies to give people a hand up and not a hand out.
It takes about 1 hour to wash and dry someone's clothes, and after about 2 minutes to set up, there's not a huge amount to do. So we pull out the 6 orange chairs and everyone sits around and has a really nice chat, and that 1 hour time is a really powerful time for that.
There's no reason to think of someone experiencing homelessness as anything other than your neighbour, your son or your parents.
We knew that Riley's death could have been prevented with immunisation during pregnancy, so we decided to go public and ensure that more mums knew about the importance of vaccination.
Let's engage young men in public conversations. Let's see how young men can help us to find the right solutions to address a lot of the social issues that we face.
Be watching at 7:30 p.m. on January 25th to see who will be the Young Australian of the Year for 2016.
As you can see, my competition was fairly steep. But on Australia Day, I had the most remarkable time I will ever have. I think that day will be entrenched in my memory forever and ever. I can't begin to describe the pride and the nerves as I stood in front of the whole nation. It was pouring rain, so everything was wet, and I was the only one that wanted an umbrella, and no one else wanted an umbrella. But, you know, this is something that you can do too. This is something that we are all average Australians, and as we stood on that stage and as we kind of debriefed after and we went on to our normal respective lives, I realised that we're all just average Australians that went to different unis, you know, that have different families, and we just decided to do something a little bit innovative. And the boys that won, Orange Sky Laundry, incredible bunch of people. If you don't know what they do, they put washing machines in a van and go around Australia and wash homeless people's clothes. And they sit around and they chat while they're washing for those cycles, and that's when their time is most powerful. So it was great to lose to them because they totally deserve all the recognition they can have. As you can see, I stand for inclusion. I'm an advocate for people with special needs having meaningful employment, and I'm a big believer in young people taking an active role in being leaders of social change. I truly believe that there are not enough of us taking opportunities, but also making our own opportunities. We're all dealers in the fate of our lives. My family and I could have sat there and waited for an opportunity to come for Guyana. Or we, as a family, made something together. We started in our bathroom and we moved all the way to the garden shed. So really, anything is possible. I'd like to share a little story. It was only a few weeks ago I was shopping with Guyana, my little sister, at a local but giant grocery store. Guyana, armed with a shopping list, was ready to conquer the weekly family grocery shop. Standing at the end of the mission was a delicious Milky Way chocolate, and she promised herself that the chocolate bar would be hers if she successfully dominated the shopping list, a task I was 100% sure we'd be able to conquer together. We snaked the shopping aisles at a pace that varied to running a marathon all the way to sitting on top of a turtle. Many spontaneous grocery suggestions cropped up from Guyana. Marshmallows, eggs from my car, apparently, apple juice, lemonade, tiny teddies, and jelly cups, she suggested helpfully. Eventually, our shopping list was conquered, and it was around 7 p.m. on a Sunday evening, and hardly anyone was around. We were both pretty impressed at our shopping abilities and couldn't wait to pay and enjoy that Milky Way. To all those parents, siblings, family members, and friends with people with special needs will understand that independence is key when you have a special person in your life. It kills me to say, but one day we may not be here to love and support our special family members that so desperately rely on us. If the worst was to happen, as a family, we want to know that Guyana can shop independently. This means a lot of things. We need to teach, we need to consolidate, and we need to support these special people in personal care, feeding, exercising, and general community awareness. Going back to the shopping trolley, we then went to the self-serve checkout because I'm a big believer that Guyana needs to scan all of our groceries and do so independently. And so we were scanning, minding our own business, and because it was 7 p.m. on a Sunday night, there was no one at the grocery store. So we were taking our time and scanning it, and she gets every item and goes lines, lines, and scans the lines and puts it in and, you know, all that. It's all fine. After a few minutes, a little line formed at the self-serve checkout. And I know we've all been there and we've seen someone going really slow and we're like, can you just hurry up, please? But at this special moment, a lady comes up to me and she says, can you just hurry up? And I turned around and I said, no. I said, no, I'm sorry. Guyana has a disability and I'm just trying to teach her how to shop independently. And then, if she wasn't dumb enough, she says to me, well, can't you just bring her at another time? Well, no, I'm sorry. What time am I meant to bring her? You know, and that raises a big question. It raises a big question of inclusion. It raises a big question of patience. And it raises a really big question of our fundamental role in society in nurturing and supporting people with special needs. You and I will all go to the grocery store. We all will. And we will all encounter a person with special needs. I ask that when you find your person with a special need and you need to be a little bit impatient, that you don't. I'm very lucky that Guyana doesn't understand what that lady did. So in the process of me getting really mad at this lady and wanting to run her over with a shopping trolley, Guyana had already put 2 packets of Skittles in the shopping cart. So really, she had no idea. But what it does do is it hurts me. But that's fine. I can deal with that, and I'm strong enough. But there are people with special needs that will understand that impatience, and there are people that will understand what has happened to them, and they won't like it. If you were in their shoes, you would understand as well that that's not on. And so I think, you know, my message today is, as a person with a sibling that has a disability, I see the stares, I hear the whispers, and I feel the judgment every day. But it doesn't have to be like that. To me, the situation actually ended on a high. Months after the original incident, Guyana can now independently shop and uses the touchscreen better than I can ever dream of. That, my friends, is called a hell yeah moment. It's a very small but important step in our personal worlds, and I think it's important for people with special needs to be integrated into everyday life. This is reason 1,115 trillion to why I started a business that employs people with special needs, to ensure they have a fair go and lead a normal life full of meaningful employment and responsibility. Now is the time for us to be a little nicer with our special members of our community. I hope that in my journey as ACT Young Australian of the Year to spread that important message of inclusion. It starts and it ends with you. If we all do our part to open up our hearts, we'll be on track to a more inclusive nation. A place where people like me don't leave the grocery store in tears. A place where people with special needs are nurtured by our community to be the best people they can be. I hope we, as community members of the University of Canberra, can be champions of change. We need to promote inclusion, innovation, and passion. We all have it within. It's just about finding it. Your university experience doesn't start and end with your degree. You can gain so much beyond that piece of paper if you invest and put yourself out there enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, I challenge you to take this awesome opportunity at this wonderful university and seize the day. I look forward to seeing what you all will all achieve and hopefully delivering this commencement address for years to come. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Nip, for an inspiring and challenging speech, for taking the time out to address all our commencing students here today, for being such an amazing University of Canberra alumna. We're very proud of you, as you can see on the posters. But also congratulations for all the work you've done and your most recent recognition of being the 2016 ACT Young Australian of the Year. Well done. And as a token of our appreciation, the Vice-Chancellor has a gift for you. I hope that you'll accept on our behalf.